Hi guys, welcome back. Scatlink here, and we are off for another of our What's in the Treasure Chest video. And not only is this very late, because we're halfway through January, perfectly good reasons for that, although, you know, it's not an obligation to make these. I just like showing you what has happened over the course of the holidays, as well as a little update, although I like to follow up with a major update video solely focused on everything. It's going to be a little bit different today, because not only was, you know, this Christmas season period, whatever you want to call it, I wasn't too sure what I was after. I got a lot, which was more than I was expecting, and it just shows how well people know me. And I only asked for like only a couple of things, and it just went out of proportion. The problem is that December was a mess. I'll be talking about that at the end of the showcase, but to summarise on why this video was late, myself, Linkario, my uncle and my nanny were all ill multiple times at some points, all the way up throughout December. Krampus was making his rounds. But as I said, this list is big, and although my own dear mama got me a couple of pairs of jeans, tons of sweets, as she usually does, because that's just something that she likes to do during the Christmas period, as well as 6 bags of mini eggs from Stella Chondrite. That was a shock, but they start stocking that stuff in, but I just wasn't expecting that, so, you know, sugar overload for me, because, you know, I like my mini eggs, and I've got like an extra pack over there, which I'm now eating because I've got all those ones. But, you know, I don't talk about any of those when I show these off, because one, we'd be here all day, 2, you don't need to see chocolate oranges and stuff like that, or even boxes of heroes. But what you do want to see is the more unique stuff, and there is a couple of food items in here, so we'll get to be covering that. And I just also want to say thank you to both my team leader and my team manager for stopping off at my house when I was not able to leave and work for the month, just to give me like a couple box of chocolates here and there. That was something that was completely unexpected. Like, it's because that I wouldn't have seen any one of them during the work period, which during December gets really crazy. Not going to get too much into it, but that's just something I just wasn't expecting, like at my doorstep. Like, what? That's insanity. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to them two for that. And let's begin. This is heavy. So heavy, in fact, I can't fit some of them in because 1, they're too big, 2, there's way too much. First off, from my dear brother, we have a unique little thing that came from, I believe, B&M. Does it say on the back here? B&M. It's like a discount, like, supermarket store where you can buy some food, treats, some toys, and some other knickknacks that are just a little bit on the discount sort of thing. It's like Lidl or Morrison's, but not mostly focused on food. It's just a little bit of everything, but a lot more smaller, and they buy things in bulk to make things cheaper. And this was something that was quite unique. It's a gummy, like, burger meal with fries, burger and fries. It's just pure gummy, and I haven't actually eaten it for the sole purpose that I wanted to show it off, because it's basically a freaking Happy Meal from B&M. It's like when I showed off that massive gummy pizza. Like, I know you get the little small ones that, you know, you can get, used to get in stores just in general, but you don't normally see, like, in a proper pizza box, a massive gummy pizza. That's unprecedented, and this is kind of like another one of those little things. Azzy-Man spotted it there, Master Aaron, and yeah, he got one for me, and my mom was sneaky enough to get one for him, so, and he's already devoured his. But yeah, thank you, bro, for that, because I still haven't tried it, and I've been meaning to do so, but I wanted to save it for this, so, you know, we could see everything. I've got to put it down somewhere. But on to the next one, because when it comes to food, you need to wash it down with something.
Ooh, how exciting! This is great!
I've got to be careful with this one. There we go. Look at that. Copperberg mixed fruit little bottle there, but it comes with its own, like, specialized branded glass. I can get that in the camera for you right there. Funnily enough, Chondrite got the exact same thing. Like, we both like our Copperberg. So one 330ml bowl of mixed fruit cider in a copperbook glass. And now I'll be able to get this out and use it. It's kind of like when I got my Zelda tankard, glass tankard, that I still have the packet for up there actually. In fact, you might notice that that's a little bit different. I've been trying to tidy up the room a little bit to make some room and stuff. But you may also notice that, well, if you can see that, there's my Game & Watches. I'll get to that in a bit. I'm pointing that out now, but it's not very important. The bottle is obviously going to get drunk at some point, and the glass is going to be used and put in the cupboard. Hopefully nothing happens to it though, but you know, if you don't use the glass, what's the point? So, yeah, same with the tankard. So I'm going to set that gently on the floor there, out of the way, because that would be a problem if that would to break. And that was from dear old Mama, and you know, Mama got me something else, which I wasn't expecting, but I probably should have had it on my list, but I was surprised it wasn't on Azzyman's list. We have Super Mario Wonder, and funnily enough, like where you see in the adverts with like all this wacky stuff happening when you grab a Wonders fruit, the singing piranha plants, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to Super Mario RPG, which has also been remade and recently came out for Nintendo Switch, which is hilarious because we're also getting another Mario RPG, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door HD. Crazy. This was something that we weren't focusing on, but now that we have it, it's great fun because it's just so visually striking in comparison to the new Super Mario Bros. Games that this basically feels like Super Mario Bros. 5, if you want to call it that. I mean, technically that would be Yoshi's Island, but that was a completely different game style in comparison to Super Mario World, and they said that was a sequel, but it isn't because Mario's a baby. It's not a sequel anyway. It's a prequel to practically everything else. It literally kept that naming convention, which they did a lot back in the day, just to keep on selling games, because even though it's Mario, it's going to sell anyway. You don't need to tie it in when there's no tie-in, because they had, what was it, Wario Land 1, Super Mario Land 3, even though Mario basically shows up at the very end. Spoilers, I'm not going to tell you what happens, but then it goes, basically Wario hijacked the series instead of hijacking his castle in Mario Land 2, because it then goes Wario Land 2, 3, 4, and then the Wario World on GameCube, and then the Shake Dimension on Wii. So even though that Wario World was a 3D Wario game, that was the only one of its kind. It was like the one-off. So, but yeah, getting off of a tangent, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, basically Super Mario Bros. 5, unless you wanted to count the new Super Mario Bros. Games as such. Every single one of the original Mario Bros. Games, the first one on NES, not Lost Levels, that was more of Mario 2 in a sense as Galaxy 1 and 2, because it was the same thing, just more. But then you had actual Mario Bros. 2 / Doki Doki Panic, Mario Bros. USA, whatever. That was visually different, and it also had different mechanics. Mario Bros. 3, again, visually different, different mechanics. Mario World, different mechanics, visually different. And now we got this one, which basically has controls of Super Mario World, visually different, with new mechanics. It's basically Super Mario Bros. 5. There's no other way to explain it. Get it? It's really good. If you want to play proper co-op, you have to play in the room. Online multiplayer is a little bit different. It's like you can help people live by touching their signposts, but it's also like ghost data because you can't actually share collectibles. You're basically just playing along with them, but they're in their own game. It's kind of like an MMO, but obviously not massive multiplayer online. It's basically just hat in time is the best way I can describe it. You're both playing along, but you're not sharing data. But in that one, you can interact with people, and in this case, you can save them from dying or something. It's weird, but I guess that's the wonder of it all, I guess. Maybe they just didn't want to do proper multiplayer online, because considering Mario Maker 2 didn't work so well, even though it does actually work very well on Super Mario 3D World. I've mentioned so many Mario names, and I haven't really talked about this much, but we've only got through the first world. Me and Meza, we normally go through the 2D games, of all the new Super Mario Brothers games, and now me, Meza, and Aaron are also going through this here. So, and we're basically the same characters that we usually are. So, see how far we get on that. You know, it's just a Mario game, not much to discuss. I basically just talked of everything else and naming conventions and stuff and babble. And I don't want to be doing that too much in this video, which I tend to do because we've got a lot to get through. So let's just move on, because efficiency is everything. And if you're not efficient, you'll be assimilated. But we need to bring chaos to order. We have the box set of Star Trek Picard. Now, that was also from Mama, as I said. This was from Papa. And, yeah, the whole 3 seasons on disc. Not Blu-ray, but it didn't matter. I just wanted... which is, funnily enough, I actually mentioned this but very close to Christmas, because it just popped up, and I was like, they've already got it on disc? I didn't know this. Just a quick idea, but if you literally don't have anything to get there, and even then, the Blu-ray was about 70 quid, which is understandable, because it's just come off of Paramount Plus, and we did have Paramount Plus, but we don't have it anymore, and I never got round to watching it. But I have seen a lot of scenes. I have been spoiled quite a lot online, so I kind of know a lot of bits. Obviously, the box wants to show that the Enterprise D does come back, even though the Star Drive went kaboom. Poor Star Drive. And that was during the Generations film. I like the Next Generation crew. In fact, that kind of era of Star Trek is basically my Star Trek. Not the original series and the films. In fact, I still need to get the films, but I did, if you remember, I got the box set of the animated series, this year's birthday, 2023, and also the previous birthday before that, got a set of boxes, the whole series, of the original series, because I was lacking on those, and now I've got the whole Picard, and we've got all of the next-gen movies. We're on a Star Trek kick at the moment, because, funnily enough, Black Friday, I saw an advertisement on Facebook for a couple of games. The Avatar game, which I haven't still watched Avatar, I know, blasphemy. There was another game in that section of couple that intrigued me because I didn't know it existed. And again, it was on Black Friday, so I was like, Nanny, may I have this for Christmas, please? Star Trek Resurgence. I have no idea what this game is about, but I'm pretty sure it takes place right before I believe it's the J.J. Abrams film, Star Trek Into Darkness and Star Trek Beyond. I don't know what order, but those are the names of the reboot film, shall we say, but technically affected by the Prime timeline, because if I remember at the beginning of the first film, because it was I only got through about half of it before I was like, I'm not into original Star Trek, and this is way too different for me, which... this, again, was back when it came out in the 2005 or something. I can't remember the year. But what I do know is that this takes place at least before then, because Spock is in it. Obviously, it's not going to be voiced by Leonard Nimoy. He's passed away quite a while ago when I was doing my South Park Stick of Truth Let's Play, and I was in the space area. So I made my thumbnail was like a bit of a tribute to him, although I probably should have done that with South Park. I already made a joke before the news came out. Leonard Nimoy helped me, I do remember that, but it was also a funny moment, so, South Park, give or take. But regardless, I know that Jonathan Frakes reprises his role as Riker, so there's voice acting in this. In fact, you can see him in the screenshot right here as well. My thumb was covering him up. I believe that's Riker, but I can't tell because of the graphic style. Yeah, that must be Riker. So, yeah, seek out adventure alongside Ambassador Spock and Captain William T. Riker, so he's captain here. We know that he becomes Admiral in Picard, which I just showed off, so, can I actually see his pips on here? No, he's actually in casual clothing on this, so, in fact, they're all in clothing other than this one guy with pips. But the thing is, Picard might actually lead into a new series, like a sequel to Voyager with 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan actually like taking the reins on the series. I'd love to see that. It's like weird how, I mean, in a way, Star Trek has come through a resurgence, because the only lore we were getting and story was through Star Trek Online, which I have dabbled in, but not really committed to playing properly. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I haven't played it yet, but I've got it installed, so, I'll be playing it at some point, because... it's something, and I've got too many games on my bucket list. And would you believe, when I was not doing much on December, I was still doing videos, as you may have noticed, so my time wasn't completely occupied with just doing nothing. But again, this was after that time, and I need to dive into it. Speaking of diving in, I had to go diving in to a store that has a lot of problems, because they were going to shut it down, but then a lot of people were like, no, don't do that. They were backpedaled on it. But they left it in a very broken state that makes it a pain to actually give them money. The PlayStation Store, I'm just showing it very quickly because you can't see due to the glare. I've got 5 receipts here. One of them was confirmation. The other is £5 of PlayStation Store credit each. So I had £20 from my nanny of PlayStation Store credit. And I was like, thank you. Don't know what I'm going to spend this on. I didn't really have any ideas. But then it hit me. And we're going to get into a big section of the video, except for one item after this discussion. With this, because it gets big. We're going to go down a rabbit hole. As I said, we're taking a dive. Here's the thing. With £20 of in-store credit, and the fact that, if you can't see behind Saba now, because I've, again, shifted stuff around, you can see stuff on top of something behind Saba. The brown box that was there, that is the PSVR headset that I have. And there has been a VR game that I've been wanting, and I haven't been deciding if I wanted it on PC or just on the PSVR, just to save hassle and setup. Because I had these vouchers, I finally caved and got Psychonauts, The Rhombus of Ruin, which is the true sequel to number 1, because it takes place literally right after Psychonauts 1 finishes, which I did play blind along with other people chilling in voice chat on the Nerd Herd, which I do have a playlist here as well, so please check that out. Link in the card, I'll put it in there. That is the next game, and it's VR, so that's going to be interesting. But obviously, if I were to, and I would be live streaming my experiences there, I won't be able to check chat because I've got a pair of goggles on my head, so I'll probably have to have someone from the Nerd Herd help me manage Twitch chat anyway and help respond and stuff, because I'm not going to be able to. That's going to be an interesting one, and it will also be the first VR thing that any of us have really done, actually. First for me, first that. I mean, obviously the Nerd Herd's kind of dipped. A lot of people say it's basically dead, but it's kind of revived a little bit with how much the shorts that I've been recently making, which I'll talk about at a later point. But getting a bit off topic, I got Rhombus of Ruin. It was 15 quid, so I had some credit left over, and I was like, what can I get for the PSP? So if anyone knows what I do with a PSP, is that I have custom firmware on it. I haven't actually touched it since I last did it years ago, back in a few of my early videos where I was testing recording with the Roxio through component cables in order to show off some mods on Dissidia Dudes in Final Fantasy, where I had characters like Link over the Warrior of Light and Urza Scarlet over Lightning from Final Fantasy 13. And, you know, that you can actually make recorded stuff, and as long as you have, like, whatever characters in those costume slots with custom firmware, you could use those. But anything that was official at the time, I think there may be a way of doing it now because of preservation of the store and all that, and plus these are, like, £1 or less anyway. You can't really, well, as we would have thought, we couldn't exactly go onto the store with these anymore. And I was like, is there any other official DLC for this game that I want that I can no longer get? Because I already got all the DLC for Final Fantasy 13-2, 13-1, like all the DLC that I wanted for those segment of games. And I've got all the DLC I want for the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games that I have for PS3 and PS4 as well. So how do I get onto here in order to download my costumes? And even then, do I have the memory? Because memory stick duo cards are feckin' expensive for no storage. They're like almost like 30 quid for a single gig. These memory cards are disgusting. So I grabbed my system, and that was it, because I couldn't do anything because the battery expanded and was dead, and that was an official battery as well, so I couldn't use it. But it's not bulging anymore, and it will power on because I just flicked it on. There's the green light. What did I do? I had to get a Cameron Sino 1200 milliamp PSP replacement battery, which actually gives it a little bit more battery life, up to about 6 hours. It's an aftermarket battery that they've made for the Sony cameras and the PSP of that era, which is good because it charges, it works. I haven't charged it again since. I've played it a little bit and I've still got charge there. And if I bring up the menu, we have a battery level of 88% charge with still 6 hours left. Insanity, which is great as well, because now that I've got this working, the reason why you can't go onto the store is because that is super unstable on here. You go onto the store, it may be a blue screen for a minute and loading, and then it will die. And that's if you can even get online with this thing, because just like with the Nintendo DS, and certain DSi software, because sometimes it will use the DSi Wi-Fi connection, which DS and later DS and DSi games use the 3DS connections, which can still connect to this day, by the way. The internet security of today, too strong for this. But if you use your phone as a mobile hotspot and turn it to open, you can still connect through your PSP to the store, but the store can still crash. And that's why a lot of people believe you can't browse the PlayStation Store on your PSP because it's too unstable. And if you want to download stuff, how do you do that if it crashes? You'd use your PS3, right? Use a USB in here, and then you just transfer over. And I still had Final Fantasy VII sitting on my system, the PS1 original. I can put that on here without needing to mod it. Let's do that, because I have it officially. Why not? Wouldn't do it. An update 2 years ago removed the ability for you to transfer PlayStation 1 or PlayStation Portable content from your PS3 from the PlayStation Store, which you can buy them from, by the way, on that system. It doesn't allow you to copy that data to put it on your PSP, even if it's physically connected by a USB. Why? I have no idea why. I'm pretty sure it's not going to affect anybody. They may have said it was something to do with security measures and the fact that you have to now use a system setup password and not your actual PlayStation Network login password in order to log in on a PSP or PS3 due to security measures, because the systems themselves infrastructure is buggy. And to be fair, during the PS3 and PSP's lifetime, there was a major PlayStation Network hack, so understandable there. They probably try to fix that. However, because they removed the feature, even if both systems are connected to the exact same account and they're physically connected by a cable as well, it still won't let you copy. They removed the copy feature but didn't remove the copy button. That may have sounded confusing, but basically they stopped you from being able to put PlayStation 1 and PlayStation Portable content from a PlayStation 3 onto the PlayStation Portable, even if it's physically connected, because of security reasons. And even though you can't copy, like, I don't know, disk data, because if you try to access the system menu, so like you have the little side menu here, and you know, there's no copy option there. But then you go to something like Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation 1 or the original Spyro trilogy, there'll be a copy option, but you click it and it won't work. And if you don't have your PSP connected, it'll ask you to connect it with a USB cable. So it still checks to see if it's connected, it just won't do it. So they broke that feature in a firmware update, but they didn't remove the option within the firmware that they removed.
What?
So, how do you connect it? The store does actually work for downloads and you can still browse. You just have to hope it doesn't crash. And if it crashes, it will hang on the screen for a minute. You just listen to your system and then you'll hear an audible, it's off. You boot it back up, it's like nothing happened. It's randomly short-circuited and killed itself, or it's like a soft lock kill measure. It's weird, and it does make me panic a bit, which is why if I'm going to download everything, I want to make sure I have enough space. But the memory cards are very expensive. Enter a micro USB to memory stick duo card adapter. These things are inexpensive, about £6 on Amazon. Amazing. How cheap are SD cards? Well, if I just get myself one of these, I mean, you can buy a single 32GB for about £8, but this was like a £12 pack-in deal where you get 2 cards, because I've already got one in my system and I bought another one of these because of why not. These are inexpensive for 32GB SD cards these days, and the adapter is inexpensive as well. Look at that. I've spent less than £20 for one card and one of these, let's just say, not the pack of 2 and 2 of these. Less than £30, and I have 32GB of storage for my system. You put the card in your system, it format it works, happy days. You put your original card back into your PSP, connect that through USB to your computer, copy everything over, and then put it all on the new card by connecting it by USB. Boom. Everything has been transferred, and you have 32 times the memory, because I only had a 1 gig in there, and now I can install anything I want and have more room for custom firmware modding and all that, which I'm not going to be able to tell you because I've completely forgotten how to do it. But that means I was able to get the 2 Kingdom Hearts costumes, one each for Cloud and Sephiroth, as well as Yuna's Final Fantasy X-2 design, the Final Fantasy VI music pack, and the Final Fantasy 1 music pack, and that pretty much used all of my credit. Yes, I told you, that was going down a massive rabbit hole, and, you know, I just wanted to show this off. I'm just turning this off right now, but I wanted to talk about that because I wanted people to know that you need to get yourself one of these. Don't get the duo card ones, there's no point. Just get a single card that's big enough for your needs and pop it in there and do what you need to do. In fact, saying that, I need to update the emulators on this thing because they're like 2011 old, and they probably are, and I remember them being janky back then, even when people were like, oh, it's a good emulation system. It was just something I wanted to chat about because that was a massive rabbit hole that didn't need to happen, and it was causing me a lot of stress, but at the same time I needed a new battery in order to use it anyway, and I'm pretty chuffed, so I'm going to put that back where it normally goes up there. I probably should remove the battery if I'm not using it. I'll sort that out in a bit. But yeah, that was kind of a rabbit hole, and we're not even halfway through, so we need to speed this up a bit. I got you, you hedgehog. We have a Sonic the Hedgehog plushie. One of the recent ones, actually. What's it from? Is it based off anything in particular, or is it just the generic plush of today? By Play by Play. Yeah, I actually got an official logo there on the sticker there. You can see that rainbow. So yeah, my nan also gifted me this awesome plushie, which I wasn't expecting at all. I'm not the biggest Sonic fan, but I do, in fact, as I've kept him down here, I should probably have put stuff on the back of my chair. I'm very unprofessional today. I do have a Sonic X Knuckles plushie. Originally Aaron's, but I kind of like had it over the years and it's kind of stuck with me for whatever reason. But we have a Sonic plushie as well, and he's huge, and you can hang him up as well. Unless you're supposed to remove that, and that's just for being on the shelf. But, you know, you can just have him dangling, you know, if you want to. And it's technically still official, you know, it's not a problem there. So, you know, what you two can do, sit on the chair at the back there. We've got to speed up because it's Sonic. I don't have much to say. It's just a nice Sonic plush, and I say thank you for Nana for that. Now, back to the digital games, because, as I said, normally I don't focus digital games, but I got a lot, so... And some of them have some stories, and some of them I really want to talk about. So let's get in with the first one, which, funnily enough, kind of ended up being a little bit of a dud. Hello there, Steam Deck. What are you doing here? Oh, you are actually displaying in physical form in some way on what we're looking at. Now, if the glare would just, you know, stop being a pain, that would be even better. There we are. Turned down the brightness of the screen as well as turned off my lamp so you can actually see. Monopoly Plus. You can't see me. My time is now. So, Monopoly Plus. This was gifted by Capanda Man because he likes Monopoly, and, you know, we all like playing a little bit of Monopoly every now and again, and it's the latest version of Monopoly, and, well, he said good things on a console version, but most of us have PCs, so it made sense, and it was on offer. The problem is, Sibling Kai had a lot of problems with the game, to the point that it signed her in twice. She could only play as one, but when she joined in the game, everyone else dropped. Although everyone else didn't drop, she dropped. It was a mess. We're not too sure what was going on there, but even so, it was timing her out while she was taking her turns, and her turns were shorter than everyone else's, yet it wasn't giving anyone else a timer. I'm not entirely too sure how else to describe it. I don't want to be talking about it too much, but hopefully it will be better. I'm not entirely too sure. I can't actually play it on the Steam Deck, I don't believe, because it's got an error symbol on it. I'm not entirely too sure how else to what else to talk about. That's just a story that we had, because we were playing a game and we were having fun, but it was just having weird issues. If those issues weren't happening, because you can play it locally, as far as I can tell, it's not a problem. But I remember on the Wii, which I think is also the PlayStation 2 version by EA specifically, that one, I've used it in board streams before, that jazzy music. That's the one that I remember the most, and I remember working better. And the problem with it being by Ubisoft as well, that even if you do have it on Steam, you have to sign in through Ubisoft Connect. Same with Uno, but Uno we've also had problems with back in the day as well. I had problems with it lagging and stuff, or breaking. It just soft locks. It's a card game. It shouldn't be so hard to follow, but a lot of people give Ubisoft a bad rep, but they said the same thing with Starlink Battle for Atlas, but I actually like that game. I've still got a few toys from it now. I actually know of a store, not that locally, it's about an hour away from me on the seafront, but they do have some Starlink merch in there still off for cheap, and it's actually really good if you just want to grab some physical ones without having to search online and spending a little bit more than you would expect. But that's just me and my personal thing. I actually like that game. Plus, I get a physical R-Wing, to put on my shelf, which a lot of people want an amiibo for. This one's actually more interactable. You can move the little blue wings and all that. You can remove the wings if you want, customize it with the other pieces. And you also have a little fox figurine anyway. It's just so much better. It's like those little finds right there. But again, I'm kind of babbling off about other Ubisoft stuff other than this, because I don't obviously want people to... I'm not... In a way, I'm reviewing the game. I'm not saying that it was a bad choice on Capadaman's part, because I appreciate it and I wanted to give it a go. And I will give it another go. I will give it more goes. It's just that, you know, there was a story behind everything. But considering the stories behind things, I have a story about the game after this one, because I haven't got a lot to say, so I guess that evens it out. Ultra Kill. Now, I don't know much about Ultra Kill, but Conor Meza gifted me this for Christmas, and the only thing that I can tell that is familiar to me is that it's like a very fast-paced mob-like Doom. Like, there's tons of enemies. It's kind of like a 3D mob game where you like shoot everything as you're dodging. That's the impression I get with it. But I haven't tried it yet, but I can actually install it on here, which, you know what, I'm going to do right now, since, you know, that's probably the best thing to do. But thank you, Meza, for that. I will get to it eventually. If I install it on here, I'll most certainly get to it. It's just that with some of the games I got on here, it's not actually compatible, so I haven't checked. But, so a couple of them I wanted to dive into immediately. And unfortunately, it's not compatible on here, but I can understand it because it was originally a Flash collection. And this is not Henry Stickmin, because even though I did play those, that was more of Aaron's niche. This was my childhood back in high school. Swords and Sandals Gladiator. The Swords and Sandals Classic Edition on PC. This includes the first 4 port of a mobile game that was back then, which I didn't even know existed. Crusade, which is kind of like some sort of like war game where you have like this many characters, this many characters. Haven't played that one either. I didn't even know that existed. But at least 2, 3, and 4 I have played, and number 1 is basically like a rough proof of concept of what 2 became, and then 3 was basically that, but more balanced and fair sort of deal, and then the 4th one became a board game with the same fight mechanics, but had a bunch of mini games as well, which were very janky and Flash-like. But it was like such an era of Flash games on this, and now like it's in a proper official capacity where it actually exists. Ultra Kill just installed. This has so many memories for me. I remember, which unfortunately it's patched on here because it had something to do with putting a comma in your name on the first and second Sword and Sandals games. It breaks like some sort of randomly generated algorithm that generates your character with certain stats. You're supposed to have only like 2 stats maximum that you can put in like every stat buff, but then you could get like ridiculous builds. The problem is that if you try to fight the final boss, it'll crash the game. But you could get to the end of the game with relative ease. But a lot of things would also be bugged as you're playing the game, like some weapons won't have values, or they won't work properly, or they have ridiculous hitboxes. The game's just having a weird moment. And I remember like back in the day on PCs, I was actually getting crash errors saying, oh, something went wrong, and then I had to start again, and I was just like, more commas, and it was just hilarious. The way that they fixed that, as far as I can tell in this, is that you press comma on the keyboard, nothing happens. It doesn't go in. You can't even copy and paste one in there. In fact, you can't copy and paste anything into the text box to probably prevent that. So they disabled pasting, and they disabled the comma specifically. That's such an amazing way. That means the glitch probably still exists in there if you can get a comma in there, but literally will not let you. And I'm not tech savvy enough to try and inject something in there like that, especially, well, on this, but it's got a question mark on Steam Deck compatibility. But, you know, it's a Flash game. I'm going to play it on my PC. That's the way it's meant to be played. And it's so clean, and it's got like some sort of like smoothing filter, because I swear that the art has been redone, even though they're the classic. It probably has been redone. I don't think it's running on some sort of Flash emulator, which I know those exist, because again, like preservation, most Flash games don't exist anymore, because I still remember Snail's Animation's Mysteria. They could release the original 3 chapters again as one completed game and finish the story. Like, if whoever put those together could come back and officially make that like an indie game, similar to how Sword and Sandals now is on Steam, and Henry Stickmin as well, where they there's obviously still references there, but it's all legal. It's not like going to cause any problems or anything like that. But it's still the exact same collection of games. And when it first came out, I didn't even realise there were like the last couple. I remember it going up to about halfway, maybe the 4th game or something, and that was it. But there was more, and it just blew my mind. So these Flash games becoming official games and not just people that are... I'm not saying that official is official and all that. What I mean is that it's in an official legal capacity where they can actually sell their games on a platform such as Steam or on the Nintendo eShop or stuff like that. That kind of level of officialness, that is just amazing, because like this was just something that you just boot up on your school computer that's not blocked and play it. That's it. You can just play it. There was no like saving or anything like that, and if it was, it would save like a little file in your desktop on your documents folder or something like that. It was just like a weird time, and now it's like they're actually able to monetize and earn off of their creative outlet like any other developer would, and it blows my mind that that is a thing that exists. Anyways, we need to get moving, so let's pick up the pace a little bit with the next one that Stella Condroy gifted to me, because this is a pack of 3 games that Stella gifted me on here. I've really got to sort out my lighting situation. That says Lunastis. You can see the character, kind of like a Chinese, Japanese fox-like design in a sash with some wind spinning around. In fact, spinning is her thing, because when I play it, even though it's mostly like in a kind of PlayStation-like design, you can up the res if you want, but if you leave it as blocky as it is, it basically looks like a PS1 game running at a low frame rate if you want it to be like that, because again, PlayStation, roughly about 30 or 20 as a setting for that. But, you know, I'm playing it smoothly because I like the sharpness. It's basically 3D Freedom Planet. Not that fast breakneck, but it was shown in a indie showcase, I believe. And it got my attention because I was like, this is like 3D Freedom Planet. Like, how much speed are you gaining? Like, just check the trailer and you can see what I mean. And I haven't got to that point yet. I've been trying to ace every level, but I haven't been playing it much, as I've only got like an hour of playtime because I was playing it while checking other stuff out. But this was the first, other than Sword and Sandals, this was the first game that I boot up to try, especially on here. This was out of the group of games that Stella gifted me. This was the first I booted up on the Steam Deck, and yeah, it basically is 3D Freedom Planet, because this fox character can run pretty fast and has a cyclone attack which acts as a triple jump. You could do a normal double jump and then get an extra little jump by doing a little tornado spin, a cyclone as it were. So yeah, that's basically what I was after in a way. There's no like special abilities or anything like that, it's literally just jumping. I think the story is that you're asleep and you're going through like a simulation dream sequence thing, and you need to collect these items in order to escape. If you complete the level normally, it's all celebratory and everything, and it's like, yeah, you did it, but you didn't really do it, because if you grab all the items and you don't take your time at the end, like you just beeline to the little ending circle, you don't notice platforms spawning to an item in the distance, and it's like, oh shit, I've got to do it all again. You do, you get it, and then it just unceremoniously kicks you out of the level with the item. Like, did I do something wrong? The screen's glitching, and then it's fine, because you're back on the map. What's going on? I need to know, so I'll be diving into that a little bit more at some point. Speaking of speed, maybe we need to go a little bit more insane, because this is something that my brother's been playing like crazy, and I played Ed and Eddie last year. Why have I not played this yet? It's pizza time! Wahoo! We got Pizza Tower, baby! I hope you're liking the little transitions I'm having, because I went out of my way to get those to match. And yeah, so Pizza Tower is basically Wario Land 4 on steroids, and with Ed and Eddie style humour. Sorry for the cuts, I keep stammering because so many words sound the same. Pizza Tower is like if Ed and Eddie went completely unhinged and it was a Wario Land game. That's probably the best I can describe it. The music is great. The graphics look like they were drawn in paint, and yet they look quite detailed is the way I can describe it, because some of the level title cards are just whoa. As I said, the music, like the final boss theme, similar to how it was with Undertale when I heard Hopes and Dreams, that's what got me into playing the game. the final boss theme, it's kind of what I want to play this for, even though I was already aware of the escape sequences when you leave the level, because that's Wario-Land, the music for laps 1 and 2, and then the fan-made lap 3, which I used in A Hat in Time. By the way, when we were covering some of the summer mods, because of the Painted Sandcastle, it was based off of Pizza Tower, which means it's based off of Wario-Land, which is like, whoa, maybe I should have been in the Wario-Land overalls, because I do have that as a costume, but I was kind of like in Peppino-style clothing at the time. And yeah, funnily enough, I had to go through the level again, outside of the mods, play it normally, get the timepiece, and do it again, a third lap, as it were, in order to actually get everything, because it had additional stuff in there. It's crazy. But enough talking about that mod. This game, it's installed on here. I'm ready to go. And yes, there are mods. Don't think I can get them on here though. I think Master Aaron mentioned that when you use the mod manager to put the mods into the game, it updates the game through Steam. Like, it actually updates the game here, like you installed it from the workshop. But there is no workshop here. All you get is activity, your staff, community, and game info. There's no workshop. If it updates the game that way, I just have to manage that on my PC and then boot this up. It will install by syncing it up through the cloud, and then it should work. So we'll see how that goes. And now I can finally put this thing back on charge, because we're done with Steam Deck and digital gaming. Because we've got a couple more things to talk about, and then I'm going to do a quick addendum at the end of the video, because this video is huge, and as I said, I haven't got much to talk about in terms of what's coming up that I don't want to mention here, because I'm only going to cover why this video was so late. Although Stella's mum may think I might need to take a break in a bath or a shower or something, because I have another box set of these things. There seems to be a new running thing where every year I get something from someone that involves both wash and deodorant. I haven't tried these ones before. I normally stick with Lynx, so normally I'll stick with those. I think last time I got a Dove pack. So, but Nivea, I actually use Nivea hand cream for the moisturizer, because when I'm at work, I'm out all day, every day, and I'm also gelling my hands up to keep clean and all that. My hands get dry, so I use the hand cream a lot. So at least it's a brand that I know is good. I've just never seen these or used the deodorant from their brand before. That's kind of something a little bit small there, but I'll have to thank Stella's mama for that one. We've only got 2 more left, but one of them's actually a gift, and then one of them I got for myself. This is this gift. Oh, is there? Nope, there's nothing in there. I better be careful not to chuck this, because that would be a mess. We have a Pokeball mug from Scatlink. Now, again, I didn't know what I wanted for the majority of Christmas. The only things I was really after was Star Trek Resurgence, the Picard, and that's basically it that came up on my mind. But you've seen what I've received this year, which I have to thank everybody, as I've already mentioned many a times. And Sibling Cario couldn't resist giving me something, but as she had no idea what I would like, because I like Pokemon, I got a Pokeball mug, and it's pretty nifty. It could be a bit awkward to sip, because like you could hold it like that, you have a little bit of milk like still here. That's when you want to, like, you know, dunk your bickies, and then you start losing all your crumbs and all that. But other than that, yeah, the little Pokeball mug, nice. So now I've got something to drink my drinks out of, and now I can have my hot drinks in as well, so it's kind of funny that. But yeah, little Pokeball mug there. It's a shame I didn't have like a little Pokemon plush I could put in. I have plenty of plushies way back when, but they're all over the place in different Pokeballs, in a suitcase. And then I've got like other Pokemon in a box somewhere, probably one of them up here. You can't see them, but they'll be up in this part. And I don't go out of my way for mugs, and it's a nice little novelty mug. So thank you for that. Which is funny, actually, because we're coming up to Easter now, and I'll probably get myself some more mini egg mugs. But this holds a lot. That's a big mug of tea, that is, Gromit. And the final one, which I do want to be showcasing a little bit here, which I said may take a little bit of time, is something that I actually bought for myself. But I needed to round this off to 15 because I'm just like that. And here we have not a new phone, but a new phone case for an old phone that I have. This is a phone case that I got with little cubes on there for an effect, and I've stuck a sticker that I got off the internet as well, but that's not the only one. Because if I just flip this down, oh, look at that! There's another sticker. It's the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross Dark Road phone case that I kind of put together myself. The case was a tenner. Both stickers cost me about a tenner as well, I think. Nice little wrist strap as well, so you don't drop the phone by accident. But I did have a leather case for this phone. Obviously, it's old because this is my A8. I upgraded to an A12, and then I upgraded to my current phone, an A23. The problem was when I upgraded from the A8 to the A12 is that your progress for Union Key or Cross Dark Road doesn't transfer. So if you do actually transfer the app, your save data doesn't transfer, so all of your Union Cross stuff won't transfer because it came from the servers, but your Dark Road stuff does transfer. But if I wanted to keep my own records back when the servers went offline and, you know, Dark Road actually wrapped up on the same update, I need to keep this phone. This phone is literally dedicated solely to preserving this game. And as I said with, like, you know, the stickers here, if it was, like, for example, sitting like this, the sticker kind of works out like that as well. It fits perfectly, which is awesome, because as I said, if you're holding it like that, like playing it like that, you know exactly what it is. And as I said with the Game & Watches, as I mentioned all the way over there, I've got a little gap to put this alongside them as well, because, you know what, funnily enough, this does have Game & Watches. If you go into Union Key, you have the Classic Kingdom games from Kingdom Hearts 3. They appeared in here first, at least. The first 5, I believe, out of 12 or 14, I forget how many there is. But yeah, so you do have some Game & Watch games, and we'll just tap one real quick. Yeah, Game & Watch. Not only do you have Union Key in terms of watching all the cutscenes and stuff, but you also have your records, and you can see that is me from the videos way back when. And you also have your battle records. Now you can see big numbers there. It's not focusing exactly. Oh, there we are. Now it's actually focused. But yeah, you can see that these are in fact my records. These are my records from when it was back online. I'm level 434. That doesn't transfer to other phones, which I think is absolutely insane. If the data was on my phone, why can't I not transfer it along with the app? It blows my mind. You want to know something even crazier? If we just boot up and then go into Dark Road here, which should take not that long to load at all. Go into my stats. I have in fact maxed out Xehanort at level 99, which means I have basically made him as strong as he should be to Kingdom Hearts 3. But yeah, that basically took multiple, up to about 2 months, I believe, of just leaving the game on autopilot with all the life up charms that I had. Left on charge, going to work and all that, coming back, and or taking it with me, like just, you know, just kept on going and going. It was beyond a grind, but it's kind of what you need to do. And the thing is, you can still capture your footage on here without needing to use a third-party app or anything like that. And because it has to be like dedicated solely to Kingdom Hearts Union Key Dark Road, I've got like a little health meter there, which is the battery meter. That one up there is the app for that widget. You've got, you know, all your stats here, including what actually uses your battery up. And finally, that's my game page. But you may notice at the bottom of the screen here that no matter what page I go to, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross is clickable right above the crown in the background, as well as when it says Union Cross Road, it lines up perfectly with the HUD or the UI of my home screen, so when I swap, it just looks so nice and neat. And as you saw with the lock screen, that's Dark Road. If I relock it and lock it back up again, my lock screen is Union Key's screen. I wanted to show this off because it was just something novelty. It's also got its own alert and ringtone, although it doesn't have any SIM card in there, so no mobile data for me. But if it did, for whatever reason, if I wanted to use it again, which I'm probably not going to, this is solely a dedicated Kingdom Hearts Union Cross Dark Road phone. And if I wanted to stick a SIM in here so I could have this phone also be, if it's compatible and strong enough to run Missing Link, I would do, because who knows, maybe that data will get locked as well. I might have to stick a memory card in here, I might have to stick a SIM card in here, but, you know, that will save me from getting more stickers in another case, if it's compatible. But I would like it to run smoother, because even Pokemon Go struggled a little bit on here until I upgraded to my A12, so, which I don't play anymore. But I just wanted to show that off, because that's pretty nifty, and, you know, just put that back in the chest for now, because that is everything that I wanted to show off, and I've been recording for over an hour. Wow.
You remember 21st night, September.
I'm going to save talking about what our current project status is for the update video, because this has already gone on long enough. But again, I wanted to explain to you at the end of this video why this video took so long and what was going on with me and a few others over the course of December in terms of how we were personally. And I'm not going to get into too much detail, but just so you know, as footnotes, because I'm not going to share what happened to me publicly, I had to go to the hospital on December 1st, which I wasn't able to work until after Christmas. I wasn't able to safely travel. That was a major problem. I was just kind of stuck at home after that incident. Now, as you can see, I'm perfectly fine. I was also mostly fine. It's just internal pain, not in a mental sense, physically, in a way. It was my own body having a bit of a problem that needed to be sorted in surgery, and that has been sorted, and I was basically in home recovery. I was able to go home like a day after, but that's about it. That's all you really need to know about that. I'm perfectly fine now. It's just I don't want that happening again, and it shouldn't. Knock on wood. Also, Superlinkario, she was ill about 3 times in that month as well. It's not a secret as to what she had. She has said it publicly, but I'll let her deal with that. Watch one of her Super Mario Galaxy videos from this year in order to find out what happened there, mainly because that's what happened. I think she'll be talking about it in an update video anyway. She's planning on doing that herself. But in her Discord, it's definitely not a secret as to her being ill 3 times in a row, which is why we haven't been able to see each other until recently, as well as the rest of the extended family, because we are cousins. That includes my nan as well, because she got ill literally on Christmas Eve. The Christmas and the New Year weren't exactly the best, because I couldn't see Stella for more than the day, because I had work the next day, so that was unfortunate. My uncle as well, because my cousin, Superlinkario, got ill. My uncle was also ill as well. In fact, he got ill first. She caught it off of him. Then she got something else due to the lowered immune system of being ill by something, which gave to him. It was a mess. And that's the reason why this video has taken so long, because, you know, I haven't been able to see anybody in the family, because with my instance, I couldn't travel. I would have to have someone else take me places, and even then, it wasn't ideal. And I couldn't go and see Linkario because she was ill, so it wasn't ideal at all. The only person that I could see was Nanny, and at the time I did. In fact, she came to me. The problem is that all those illnesses stopped all of us from seeing each other up until shortly before this video was recorded, so you can kind of see why it left so long, as that didn't matter about how much was gifted. Like, I wanted to gift my stuff. I got Superlinkario a semi-mechanical steel keyboard. I got Stella Condrite a Kyber plush. I got Master Aaron, my brother, a new 2DS XL to replace his Luigi 3DS XL, because the battery was failing, and we don't really want a collector's 3DS to be having any more problems, so we're trying to salvage it, because he's been using that for years. So, you know, it's like, obviously that's in the house, that's not a problem, but you get what I mean. It's like, we just weren't able to see each other over the holidays, and it wasn't even due to the fact that there was like a quarantine or anything like that. It was literally just because we were not well enough to see each other, or able to travel to see each other. It was a mess. But it's not like that we weren't doing anything, or at least I wasn't doing nothing during December, because I was able to get through a Hat in Time's rebooted live event, because it includes stuff from the live event from last year, 2022. However, it had 3 new featured mod levels, which added 9 Death Wish stamps, as well as a new weapon, and the previous 5 stickers could now go into your Steam inventory if they are re-earned. So that's all well and good, and that also gave me enough time to finish off grinding the KOs for Hattle Royale, which was a mod that was featured in the 2023 Summit live event, which I was putting off for quite a while. So with the extra free time, I was able to grind that out and get that done. So again, it wasn't like the channel went completely dead. I even got through Pokemon Scarlet's school sessions, because it took me over a month to edit the previous school sessions, or at least getting halfway through. But I did eventually get those edited, and then I got the next lot recorded and edited almost like that, because I had the free time, and I can't just sit here and do nothing. I need some sort of normality, and I like making videos, so I thought this is the perfect time to get all this annoying stuff out of the way. Then I started playing Final Fantasy VI on my Steam Deck, the Pixel Remaster version, and my mind was blown. But that is going to be a video of which I'll have to make once I do beat that version again, so I can make a difference video on that. But that is basically everything I wanted to talk about in this video. As I said, that was a very short thing. I was only talking about up to December, because in the next video being an update video, it may not necessarily be the next video, because I might have more Pokemon stuff coming out in between the time I'm editing this and then recording and editing that, is that with that video, we'll be talking about the state of current projects, because they have been delayed, as well as new stuff like shorts, as well as certain rebranding, but not from me. So we'll need to be clearing the air on that. So with that, guys, hope to see you next time. And please enjoy the shorts I already have up. I'll cover those in the update. See you guys then.